Hi, so today we're going to be covering the SHSAT math section from the official practice test from 2019 to 2020, and we're going to be doing the grading questions. So let's get started. Okay, so question 58, we have total sales figures for last year. So I guess we have different types of cars. So we have 4-door cars, 2-door cars, and then trucks for a total of 9,000 total cars being sold. So if 1,000 vehicles will be sold next month, what is the best estimate of the number of two-door cars that will be sold? Okay, so basically 2-door cars are a fraction of the total number of cars, and we know that so far of the 900 total cars that were sold, 2,250 of those have been 2-door cars, and we know that next month 1,000 total vehicles will be sold, and we want to figure out how many of those are going to be 2-door cars. So this is basically a proportions question, and we can just solve by cross multiplication. So I'll do that up here. So we have this multiplication, right? So I'm multiplying these two, and then I'm dividing by 9,000. Okay, so these zeros are going to cancel out with these zeros, and so then I can multiply 2250 by 2 to get 4500 divided by 9, and then 45 divided by 9 is just 5, so I'm left with 500. So 500 would be my answer. Okay, so 59, in a scale drawing of a rectangular garden, the length is 15 inches and the width is 9 inches. Okay, so we have a length of 15 and a width of 9. And we're told that 2 inches actually represents 3 yards. So these are inches. And we know that 2 inches is in fact 3 yards. So we want to know what the width is of the actual garden in yards. So this is basically a proportions question. So we know that the width is 9 inches in the scale, and we want to know the actual width here. And we know that the width in the scale of 2 inches is equivalent to an actual width of 3 yards. So that would be our proportion, and we would do our cross multiplication. So we would get that the question mark is 9 times 3 over 2, which is 27 over 2, which is 13.5 inches. So this would be my answer. Or sorry, not inches. That would be yards. Yeah. Okay. So a kindergarten teacher has 72 crayons, 60 pencils, and 84 sheets of paper. If each child receives an equal number of each item, and there are no items remaining, what is the greatest possible number of children in the class? So if each child receives an equal number of each item, then that basically means that so if you take 72 crayons, for example, let's say that there are 8 children, right? Then each child would receive 9 crayons, right? So in order for each child to receive an equal number of an item, the amount of children has to evenly divide the number of crayons, the number of pencils, and the number of sheets of paper, right? Because, for example, let's say that there are 7 children. Well, 60 does not divide 7 evenly, right? It might be like 8.3 or something like that. And so, while most of the children would receive 8 pencils, one of them might have to receive like 9 or 7 pencils. Well, let's see, 7 times 8 is 56. So since there are 60 to distribute, then one child would have to receive 4 pencils. But anyway, so we need basically the greatest possible divisor of, so the greatest common divisor of 60, 72, and 84. And in order to figure this out, we could factorize each of them. So why don't we actually do that? I mean, you could eyeball it, but it might be better to actually do it. So 60 is 2 and 30. 30 is 2 and 15. And 15 is 3 and 5. 72, I'll say that it's 8 times 9, and 8 is just 2 to the 3, whereas 9 is 3 squared. And then 84 would be 12 times 7. 12 is 4 times 3, and 4 is just 2 squared. So, right, and 60 is just, from this factorization, it would be 2 squared times 3 times 5, so that's 1, and then 72 is just 2 cubed times 3 squared, so that's 1, and then 84 is just 7 times 3 times 2 squared. So the greatest common denominator or divisor would be what all these terms have in common. So if you look at them, they all have in common this 2 squared term, right? And so you can see that here, right, 2 to the third, that includes 2 squared and 2 squared right there. And they also all have at least 1 3. So therefore, the GCD would be 2 squared times 3, which is 12. So therefore, the greatest possible number of children in the class would be 12 children. Okay. So 61. So Mr. Smith opens a retirement account with an initial deposit of $900, and this account earns 5% simple interest annually. So the amount of interest is gotten by multiplying 0.05 by 900. So this is just 900 times 5 over 100. And this would just be 9 times 5, or 45, right? So he earns $45 in interest each year. And how many years will it take for his $900 deposit to earn this much interest? So that would just be division, right? So we want to earn $360 in interest, and we know we earn $45 a year from interest. So if you did that division, I think you would get you would get 8. Yeah, you would get 8, right? Because 8 times 45 is 360. So it would be 8 years. Okay. So now for 62, we want to solve this equation for x. So basically what we can do is we can group this whole thing together. And so we're just going to divide both sides by this thing. So we divided that side, right? And then we'll divide this side. 21, 14, 49, and 48. Okay, so on the left-hand side, this cancels out, so we're just left with x. And then on the right-hand side, we can do a lot of simplification here. So if you look at 14 and 49, if you divide 7 by both of those, then you would get 2 here, and you would get 7 here. And then if you look at 21 and 48, each of those is divisible by 3. So 48 divided by 3 is 16, and 21 divided by 3 is going to be 7. And now if you look at the numerator and denominator, you have 7 times 2 and 7 times 16. So the 7s will cancel out. And so you're left with 2 and 16, so that would just be 1 over 8. So now we can write this. So we have, remember, we have x is equal to 0.875 divided by 1 over 8. And so this would just be 8 times 0.875. And that you could just multiply that out, and you would get, here we can do it actually. So then, let's see, 64 plus 6, 70. So I think that you would get this. You would just get 7. Yeah, so you just get 7. Okay, yeah, and that's it for this video.